Hey guys, it's me, Danny, and today I'm doing a subscriber chart from one of my subscriber friends. This is Mallory from San Diego, and her personal archetype is Mars in Pisces. So stay tuned if you want to learn more about Mars in Pisces, and also if you want to learn about charts that have a handful of planets that are sort of debilitated. So, all right, let's just jump right in. First things first, we have 1 degrees Aries here rising, and I think that's really interesting because whenever, most planets and house cups are going to be more comfortable in a sense when they're toward the middle of the sign. Now, when they're early on, they tend to be a little bit unsure and tentative. If they're later in the sign, they can be a little bit more tired or a little bit lethargic and, that kind of thing. So, we have 1 degrees Aries here, so it's pretty much 1 degree from just the beginning of the zodiac circle. So there's that really bold, excited, just sort of impulsive Mars energy here, and we have Venus and Moon in the first house conjoined in Aries as well. So just there's going to create a lot of energy of boldness, and a lot of desire to kind of just jump right into things. So this is a person who is going to have the impulse to make really quick decisions and jump right into things. So now if we look at Mars in Pisces, I don't know if you guys knew this, but the symbol for Pisces is actually 2 fish swimming in opposite directions. So, there's a lot of, back and forth, push and pull with Pisces. They sometimes can be very unsure because they see things from a lot of different angles at the same time. So Mars is this planet that's very direct. It's a fiery, hot planet. It's most comfortable in fire signs. It also rules Scorpio, but it does have a little bit of a strength in water signs because Mars, as the planet of war, likes water because it's fertile and water can be really dangerous. And also if you think of like poison, it's a liquid. So Mars, when it's associated with this kind of war qualities, you see that it has a little bit of strength in even Cancer, which is its fall, because of its ability to penetrate. So Mars here in the 12th house is a little bit tricky. The 12th house is the house of institutions, which includes like hospitals and prisons. The 12th house represents areas where we get caught for something that we weren't thinking clearly about. So with all this Aries and then this Pisces, that creates a little bit of a conflict. So a person has a lot of impulses to be really impulsive. In certain people's charts, that would probably be safe. But in this chart, making impulsive decisions is going to get this person in trouble, and that's probably an indication of this Pisces energy. So now this person, as they've matured, has ended up being very tentative and feels like they have to make big decisions all the time. And more than other people, this person has to really think about the right decision to make. And there's a big lesson here about being patient. One of the stronger points in the chart here is the connection between Jupiter and Saturn. Now Saturn is in Pisces and Jupiter is in Capricorn, and what we call in astrology, this is called a mutual reception. These planets are in each other's signs, so they sort of can swap and trade places and exchange some of their wisdom with each other. So that's really helpful in this chart where there is more than a handful of planets in a little bit of a detrimental situation. So we have Venus in detriment, we have Mars peregrine in Pisces, we have Jupiter in its fall, and we also have Saturn in somewhat of a weak position. Saturn doesn't really like water signs because it's a really intense planet. It's full of responsibility, and in the water signs it becomes a little bit too emotional and a little bit too broad in its perspective, which can be tricky. So I want to dive into a couple more things here. So usually in a horary predictive chart, the sun conjoined a planet is considered a detrimental aspect. In birth charts, the sun conjunct any planet is a really fortunate thing. It adds a lot of energy and a lot of sunlight and a lot of positive energy to what's going on. So that's a little bit of a silver lining here. We have the sun adding into the Mars. It's going to bring a little bit more confidence into someone who might otherwise become a little bit anxious and tentative with all of this Pisces-Aries conflict. I want to talk a little bit about the 10th house here. Jupiter in the 10th house of career is going to add some additional support and guidance when it comes to bosses and professional guidance. That's going to really help to balance out this chart and add some more professional development into someone who might otherwise be a little bit unfocused. Also the fact that Saturn's ruling the 10th house here, we have, and the fact that this is just right before the ascendant, just a few degrees before Aries. This is sort of the signature of somebody who, especially when it comes to career, is someone who probably, thinks they're lost and doesn't know what they're doing with their life, and at the same time has this career unfolding really naturally right in front of them, and they're sort of taking it for granted. So I would really encourage this person to make sure that you really are seeing, being grateful for what's happening. Don't try to set unrealistic expectations. Just enjoy what's happening because it's really working for you. I also want to point out the ruler of the 7th house here is Venus in Aries. So you're going to be attracting people who are, there's a sense of vanity with Libra and a sense of luxury, attractiveness. So you have attracting a Venus kind of person, but in Aries, which is in their detriment. So you're going to be attracting good-looking people to you who are struggling in a significant way. The only guidance here is to just try to pick somebody to partner with who is not too complicated. They need a little bit of your help, but not too much. Because you have the moon here in Aries, and wherever the moon is, it shows where we're really greedy for. So this means there's almost an obsession with relationships, overextending yourself, and that could lead to a lot of heartbreak and a lot of resentment. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself, and you're again balancing this Jupiter-Saturn relationship, which is all about managing responsibilities and really knowing when it's appropriate to kind of let loose a little bit and have a little bit of fun without getting in trouble. So just a quick overview. I gave you a little bit of a broad, big picture because the Mars Pisces signature here for the personal archetype doesn't really tell the whole picture here. There's a lot more going on. So I know it was a lot of information. I hope you enjoyed that. Please share this with your friends, Mallory, and for those of you, the rest of you on my channel, I hope you enjoyed another chart and how to walk through it. And please let me know if you have any questions. Subscribe. Happy holidays. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.